Kim Kardashian is feuding with one of her sisters again. She's been called out by Khloe with her shady Instagram posts as the pair have been fighting on the new episode of The Kardashians. Now, in the most recent episode of The Kardashians, the sisters clashed over Khloe's parenting, with Kim suggesting that Khloe's two kids rule her life. Now, this came about after Khloe turned down a trip to Paris for Fashion Week because she wanted to be home with her kids. Now, last week's episode also documented their family vacation to Aspen, which took place in January. On the trip, Kim called out Khloe for FaceTiming her daughter during their group dinner. Now, Kim again was annoyed with this. Kim said in a confessional, "Here we go again. She just is so stuck on what's going on at home that she can't have a good time," before later describing Khloe constantly FaceTiming her kids as annoying. Several viewers of the reality show have since called Kim out for shaming Khloe, and fans have actually done the math and figured out that Khloe was seemingly shading Kim on Instagram around the very same time that they were quietly clashing. Now, back in January and February, around the same time as the Aspen trip, Khloe shared multiple quotes that are seemingly aimed at Kim. "20 years from now, the only people who'll remember if you worked late are your kids," one quote read. "Raise your children to be impressed by kindness, loyalty, and humility, not just wealth, possessions, and power," read another. Then in 2007, Kim and her then boyfriend, Ray J's tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape. In late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, the blame was put on Ray J for releasing the video, but after all these years, Ray J maintains his innocence. He said, "I've sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Now, Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look. Now, if that's true, that is just gross. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in getting her daughter tape released and even took a lie detector test on the James Corden show, but Ray J is still adamant that they did help. Now, looking back, Ray J said he is embarrassed of the tape. Now, Kim's whole relationship with Kris Humphries was something else. They dated for 6 months before they got married. Now, Kris wasn't really into all the fame, but Kim wanted it all. Now, their relationship made them a lot of money. The reality star was paid $1.5 million by people for their wedding photos alone. They also got $30,000 for their engagement announcement and another massive chunk of cash from both her bridal shower and her honeymoon pictures. Not to mention the bonus check they got from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. Now, afterwards though, after 72 days, Kim filed for divorce. Now, Kris felt bamboozled and cited fraud as the reason for wanting an annulment. Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences, and she later discussed the marriage on her show and revealed her mother encouraged her to run on her wedding day if she needed to. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles fraud court that Kim had no intention of proceeding with this marriage. It was basically a tactic for the benefit of her show and to make money. But Jonathan Jackson, who worked with the reality star between 2007 and 2009, said that the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said, "2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with the E! Network, which had TV rights. Otherwise, they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money." Now, after their divorce and sketchy relationship, Kris exposed some of Kim's secrets. Back in 2013, Kris revealed that the proposal for the show was not a surprise and that Kim was aware of it, so the scene where she seemed moved and surprised in is super fake. In fact, Kris went further to say that they had to reshoot the proposal because Kim didn't like her reaction. Kim told Kris how, where, and when to propose. It was absolutely no surprise to her whatsoever, a source told Radar Online. First of all, Kris proposed in the middle of the day, and he had to do that because it would create better lighting to capture the moment. Now, Kim looked surprised but knew it was happening. She was in full hair and makeup, and she's always in on the show. but all of his ideas were shot down by production officials and Kim.
Although Kim is used to making questionable fashion choices, many felt that she sank to a new low when she decided to wear the famous Marilyn dress. This historical item was actually worn by Marilyn Monroe herself while she was singing Happy Birthday to President Kennedy in 1962. It was lent out to her by Ripley's Museum. Scott Fortner, a collector, shared photos of the dress in a blog post after Kim had returned it, which appeared to show stretched fabric and missing crystals on the back. Not only that, but while being interviewed on the red carpet, she said that when she first tried the dress on, it didn't fit her. So to ensure that the delicate fabric wouldn't tear, she dropped 16 pounds ahead of the event in order to squeeze into it. She then changed into a replica dress once she got to the entrance of the party because she couldn't walk up the museum steps of the Met Gala without ripping the original. But the fact she was even allowed to wear it was enough to anger fans everywhere. It was bought by Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in a 2016 auction for $4.8 million and is usually kept in a darkened, temperature-controlled vault at 40 to 50% humidity to preserve the delicate fabric. So of course, people were fuming that Kim permanently damaged the dress, especially because when you consider the design of it, the fabric is literally irreparable. Kim's union with NBA player Kris Humphries has gone down in history as one of the shortest in Hollywood. This has led to some fans to question whether it was made for TV, specifically after the two-part E! special called Kim's Fairy Tale Wedding. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on the show. But in 2017, the reality star admitted to Andy Cohen that she knew the marriage was doomed from the beginning. It turns out that she only rushed into it because of the pressure of turning 30. There were also signs that their marriage was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple were spotted arguing in their car while they were out on a dinner date in Hollywood. They were photographed heading back to Kim's car, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving him the death stare while yelling and waving her hand. This very public fight was indicative that the relationship was on the rocks. In the divorce, Kris asked for $7 million of a settlement, otherwise he threatened to make Kim go through an ugly public trial. But he ended up walking away with literally nothing. In 2018, photos of Tristan having an affair surfaced online while he was dating Khloe. To make matters worse, she was 9 months pregnant at the time. Not long after, TMZ came out with video footage dating back to October of 2017 that showed the NBA player kissing two other random women at a club. Despite the fact that there was now hard evidence of Tristan cheating on Khloe, without really attempting to hide it, they decided to stay together for the birth of their child. But things did not stay smooth forever. In 2019, reports surfaced that Tristan had cheated on Khloe once again, this time with none other than Jordyn Woods, who was a close friend of the family, seeing that she was Kylie Jenner's best friend and roommate. Anonymous party attendees told TMZ that the pair were all over each other and made out several times throughout the night. The explosive incident almost broke up the family entirely, and as a result, multiple relationships were ruined. Last September, Kris Jenner went on The Late Late Show with James Corden, where she was strapped to a lie detector and interviewed about the infamous tape that was released in 2007 of Kim Kardashian and Ray J. Kris denied the year-long speculation that she was involved in its production. Once the results came back, it seemed as though she was telling the truth. Of course, Kim kept up with this narrative too, but neither of them had expected Ray J to respond to the interview. He appeared on Instagram Live with a full presentation to prove that she was lying. He showed screenshots of text messages that Kanye West had sent him asking for the original tapes because he wanted to give them back to Kim. In response, Ray J said, "I got 2 kids and a tech company. Why would I involve myself in this? I'm so past this, bro. I'm assuming you know the full story from 05, right? How it happened, who brokered the deal, who put it all together, etc." This is when Ray J made the most shocking revelation ever. He said, "Kris Jenner is the one who made us shoot the second tape in Santa Barbara." He then claimed that Kris orchestrated the filming of the last tape and even watched them to decide which was best. Kim K came under fire when she bought the iconic cross necklace that was worn by Princess Diana for $197,000. 4 people competed in a bidding war, but Kim ended up winning the auction after 5 minutes. The amethyst cross is a 1920s pendant by a luxury jewelry designer, which Diana wore on many occasions. The cross-shaped pendant features large amethyst stones framed by a 5.2 carat diamond. After news of the purchase came out, Kim started trending on Twitter as everyone was jumping to create their own Kim Kardashian has purchased meme as a way to make fun of the historical artifacts she had bought. They have quoted Kim as saying, "I just did what needed to be done." Kim and Scott Disick are being sued for $40 million after they were accused of hatching a contest scam scam and fooling innocent people. The lawsuit alleges that the two created a fake lottery in 2020 and announced that the winner will get $100,000 and 2 first-class tickets to LA, as well as a 3-night stay in Beverly Hills, and they could shop like Kim. But turned out this was all fake. The filing claims it says that Kim and Scott worked with an Australian company, Curated, to sell the personal information of the players to advertisers. Apparently, the winners of the contest were announced, but their Instagram handles were quickly made private, which raised a few red flags. The people that did enter the contest and lost were then invaded by hundreds of advertisers, soliciting them with potentially offensive and unwanted content. However, the Australian company has said that the contest is legitimate and there is legal paperwork to back it. Both Kim and Scott have yet to comment on the lawsuit.
Number 10. Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably one of the most famous of the Kardashian sisters, and it would also seem she's the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and even recently hopped on the podcast train. In addition to filming her new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all of that by herself? Well, she pays people to do it for her, duh. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than herself. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch, accompanied by a nanny. But Kim would always make her nanny sit at a separate table far away from them when they were in restaurants. But she is known to make her nannies also walk at least like 10 feet away from her at all times. Unless she has multiple nannies with her at once, then she likes to make them stand in like a V formation because it looks cool apparently. If they walk near her or attempt to try and walk side by side, she blows up at them behind closed doors. And needless to say, she has had many nannies over the year and has probably made a lot of them cry at least once. Number 9. Courtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Courtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Courtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the prices of a chicken breast. Because, you know, if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Courtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. At one time, Courtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit. But instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she actually berated the nanny and told her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Cause yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your child instead of the child itself, who's probably got some kind of an abandonment issue. Number 8. Toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan, is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-up stores to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. You see, many employees at the factory that mix and package her makeup have reported that they were never given any proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and faces completely exposed. And workers would regularly report migraines, mild chemical burns on their hands, and a myriad of other symptoms. If this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Now, Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but we can agree that using people like guinea pigs is like 1,000,000,000 times worse, right guys? Number 7. The underpay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait that the family shares as a unit. They don't like to pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages or overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses, meaning gas, food, rent, anything that you need is paid out of pocket, with zero money coming back to you. To make matters worse, the Kardashians wouldn't pay them on a set amount of days, meaning you just kinda gotta check when you gotta check and had to deal with it in between A and B. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. Now, while they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if that staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. Number 6. Factory workers. Popping back to Kylie's makeup factory for a moment, we felt the need to split her misdoings into 2 separate entries simply because of just how messed up this place really is. Not only do they not have proper safety equipment and are basically used as human test subjects whenever Kylie wants, the factory itself is small and cramped, with many employees claiming that there were too many workers and not enough space. This description sounds very similar to, a sweatshop, which is a word describing a workplace in which the employees work ridiculous hours and brutal conditions for nearly nothing for pay, and a lot of people agreed with that statement. One former tester recounts having to constantly go back and forth to the bathroom as her anxiety was always through the roof. She was around so many people so much of her day, and it was such a terrible work environment. We completely understand the need to escape. At one point a few years back, Kylie even refused to pay her employees at a garment factory in Bangladesh, leaving thousands of employees with no money and no idea when or if they were going to return to work. Man, you know what? You suck, Kylie.
Now it worked, and they welcomed their son Rocky in November 2023, 8 years after Courtney called it quits for good with Scott Disick, with whom she has 3 children with. Now, Courtney had a complicated relationship with Scott as they got together in 2006 and broke up multiple times. Now, Scott was known for cheating on Courtney, and he really struggled with his sobriety. Now, they officially called it quits in 2015, but Scott was still around the family. Scott continued to be featured on the show as they navigated co-parenting, and the father of 3 remained close to Courtney's family. But when the show rebranded to The Kardashians and jumped ship to Hulu in 2022, Courtney's relationship with Travis was in full force, and Scott revealed that he was no longer as close to his ex, admitting it had been a huge adjustment losing her as a best friend. Now, both Travis and Scott appeared on season 1, with Courtney left furious that her ex's feelings surrounding her engagement was a big storyline. Now, Scott only made a cameo in season 2, and fans were mad. They wanted Scott back on the show, so it said he made a $2 million deal with Kris Jenner, and he returned for season 3 in May 2023. Now, the momager made it clear on Instagram that Scott was going nowhere. "Scott will never be excommunicated from our family," she wrote. "He's the father of my grandchildren and a special part of our family. We love him, and this is not true." Now, he was welcomed back with open arms by the entire family in season 3 and was no longer playing the part of the evil ex, but instead taking on the role of his true self, a devoted father who was an integral part of the Kardashian dynasty. But now that Courtney is with Travis, it's made things difficult for Scott. Now, obviously, Courtney's sisters want Scott around and will always call him a part of the family, but Courtney seems to have different feelings. It appears that she doesn't want Scott around and that he makes her uncomfortable. A source has revealed that Scott's ongoing relationship with Courtney's family irked Travis, who was left feeling threatened. Travis made it awkward for Scott to be around the family when he was there. His constant kissing and of Courtney was his weapon, and he knew that it would keep Scott out of the picture, and it did at the time. Travis needed Scott to know that Courtney was his now, and as a result, it caused Scott to distance himself from the Kardashians. But with Scott back now, the insider said Travis's game plan to get Scott out of the picture backfired. He knows that the Kardashian family's loyalty lies with Scott. Now, Courtney and Scott's kids are also very loyal to their father and will always side with Scott when it comes to Travis's issues with their dad. Fans have theorized that Courtney evidently trying to move on in her life in a different direction than her family's is something that they're simply unable to grasp. They're so used to exploiting their business for fame, they can't even fathom one of their own trying to give that up, and instead insist on gaslighting them into thinking they're selfish, one person online wrote. Sources say that Courtney started discarding everyone in her life when Travis came into the picture, and since then it has gotten progressively worse to the point she doesn't seem to care about associating with anyone from her old life. Courtney barely talks to Kim and Khloe anymore, aside from when they're filming the show. She has pushed them away and deals with them as if they are her co-workers. Things are very fake and forced when filming the show. Now, luckily for Courtney, she has her own family with Travis, and focusing on them while keeping her distance from the Kardashians seems to bring her the most peace. In fact, in one episode, Courtney told Kim that she was at her happiest when far away from the Kardashians. "I have a happy life, and that happiness comes when I get the F away from from you guys, she said. Now in another, she said she's felt more empowered to put distance between herself and the Kardashians since marrying Travis and cementing their own family unit. But it's also been said that Courtney has also allegedly cut out her lifelong friends, including Melissa Colker, Ali Rizzo, Stephanie Shepard, Brittany Gastineau, Courtney Semel, and Poosh employee Sarah Howard. Courtney and those girls were like sisters their whole life, another insider noted. Now she barely responds to texts or calls. She posts photos with them all the time on her social media. The source went on to say many of them are still close with Scott too, who they all care deeply for. Scott has always been great to her friends. Now they added, but none of Courtney's old friends are really friends with Travis and have had hardly any contact with Courtney since she got together with him. Yikes. Now hopefully they'll be able to make up in the future and move on with their lives, but it seems like there's been nothing but drama since Courtney got together with Travis. Now another person she got married to was Kanye West. They got married and had 4 children together, and they were happy until things started to go south in 2020. In July 2020, Kanye acknowledged the possibility of Kim ending their marriage, and later that month, he wrote on Twitter that he had been attempting to divorce Kim. Now he also wrote that the Kardashian family was attempting to lock him up. In January 2021, CNN reported that the couple were discussing divorce, and a month later, Kim filed for divorce, agreeing to joint custody of their children and declining spousal support from each other. The divorce settlement was finalized in November 2022, and after they divorced, Kim dated Pete Davidson, which Kanye did not like, and he took a lot of digs at Pete and Kim. He posted online about it saying, "You are lying and are liars. Y'all basically kidnapped Chicago on her birthday so she couldn't remember her father not being there, so there. Also, I should see my children 100% of the time, but since there's a separation, it should have been 50% of the time. Y'all wouldn't have played with Donda like that in Jesus' name." Now the Kardashians, for their part, have repeatedly denied Kanye's claims about Chicago's birthday, and after this rant, Khloe commented on Kanye's posts, begging him to please stop tearing Kimberly down, adding that she and her family have had enough of the false birthday narrative. Now, at the 2022 Met Gala, Kim arrived in the iconic Happy Birthday Mr. President Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, Kim said the idea of wearing the late actress's dress felt like the perfect representation of America. She was granted special access to wear it as it is kept in a museum, and people did not like this. They thought it was unfair and in poor taste to take the dress of an icon and have Kim wear it. Now, besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. She said, "It was such a challenge, it was like a role, I was determined to fit in it. I'd wear a sauna suit twice a day, run on the treadmill, completely cut out all sugar and all carbs, and just eat the cleanest veggies and protein. I didn't starve myself, but I was so strict." Following this, many slammed Kim for appearing to promote a toxic and dangerous mindset about body image and weight loss. She said, "To me, it was like, okay, Christian Bale can do it for a movie role and that is acceptable. It's all the same to me. I wasn't saying, hey everyone, why don't you go lose this weight in a short period of time." Now, her losing all that weight in a short period of time though really rubbed people the wrong way. And finally, we have Kim's short-lived feud with Khloe Grace Moretz. In July 2016, when Kim had her own celebrity feud going on with Taylor Swift, she posted her supposed proof on Snapchat of Taylor lying, and fans went crazy. This annoyed Khloe Grace Moretz though, who tweeted, "Everyone in the industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around and realize what's actually happening in the real world. Stop wasting your voice on something so petulant and unimportant." Minutes later, jumping to her big sister's defense, Khloe Kardashian responded with a collage of pictures. Now the first picture was of Khloe Grace at the beach, and the next photo was a photo of an unknown blonde-haired woman who she presumably thought was Khloe in the sea suffering an embarrassing and revealing bikini mishap. Now Khloe Kardashian captioned the image, "Is this the hole you're referring to?" at Khloe G. Moretz, and Khloe straight away tweeted back, "Fact check, first photo is me filming my movie Neighbors 2, the second photo is some girl who was wrongly photographed." But this feud didn't end there though. In 2016, Kim turned heads for sharing a full frontal nude selfie with only black bars to protect her modesty on Twitter. She captioned the photo with, "When you're like, I have nothing to wear, LOL." Then, out of nowhere, Khloe responded to the picture by commenting, "I truly hope you realize how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them we have so much more to offer than just our bodies." Now, Kim didn't take this lying down and replied back, "Let's all welcome at Khloe G. Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Your nylon cover is cute, boo."
Number 5. Victoria. Victoria Bolero has been Kylie's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when she was interning as a personal assistant for Kylie's mother, Kris. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager at first, but soon after became her personal assistant. Herself and Jenner became very close over the years, and Victoria was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter, Stormi. Now you would think with being so close to the family through thick and thin that she would want to stick around, right? Well, all good things must come to an end, as Victoria decided to quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had just quit her job to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being in that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff, and Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life, booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie having Victoria even pull out a stool once and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as quickly as possible. Number 4. Paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, a very famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on her reality TV show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensations to Jenner, she responded with, "Oh, the company doesn't actually have a budget right now to pay you, so we're just gonna have to pay you in exposure." Like, okay, that's cool. You can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner though, and I'm pretty sure it's not currency accepted at any gas stations or banks that I know of. And of course, by exposure, she meant that Andre's name was going to be printed as small as possible underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take her exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. Number 3, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie, oh look, she's back again, shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artist named Samuel Rhoda. The post redirected fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asking to donate money for covering his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman made a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women and was asking her fans to give over the goods. So why would she not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills herself? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't actually know each other personally, but she had worked with him a few years ago and thought that he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated like $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money for us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. So something tells me the surgery is going to be a little bit more than that. This is just another instance proving that Kylie is the absolute worst. Number 2, Forbes flub. Oh, I'm sorry, was that not enough proof for you that Kylie sucks? Well, hey, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand, named after herself, and Ulta, a beauty salon company. Well, it turned out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her cosmetics company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. Now, this was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to like Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turned out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought, as it was uncovered Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for her company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for publicity's sake. The mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom. And number 1, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claim Kardashian West failed to pay overtime, cover expenses, or provide any legally mandated breaks, which, like, hey, super illegal. They also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. And when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all of their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim's argument was that she could not be held responsible for any of this, as most of her employees were supposedly hired and paid by a third-party company, meaning that she herself was not technically their direct employer and therefore could not be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, maybe Kardashian would have used some of her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff so that, hey, maybe she wouldn't be getting sued right now. Something to think about, Kim.
Keeping secrets can destroy careers. The Kardashians have learned that the hard way. Here are the top 10 Kardashian secrets that destroyed their careers. Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian, they essentially had the perfect life. Kris and Robert had 4 children together, they lived in a beautiful home in Beverly Hills, and Robert had a great job as a wealthy entrepreneur and lawyer. But Kris admitted that she felt that something was missing when she was introduced to professional soccer player Todd Waterman, who was 10 years younger than her. She became involved in an affair. Kris said, "When you're very young, you do a lot of stupid things. It's probably the biggest regret of my life that I ended up having an affair. I was probably just really naive and stupid and restless and didn't realize that marriage has its ups and downs. Sometimes people think the grass is always greener, and that was like what I think I went through at some point." The bombshell revelation first came out in her memoir called Kris Jenner and All Things Kardashian. Khloe later revealed that the affair destroyed her dad and it had a terrible effect on the family. For Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom, it was pretty much love at first sight. The pair tied the knot in September of 2009 after just a month of dating. But Khloe's only marriage unfortunately ended in disaster. Relatively soon into the marriage, it was revealed that not only did Lamar have a serious substance misuse problem, but he also admitted to being with countless other women during the relationship. The couple divorced shortly after he was found unconscious in a brothel. According to Lamar, dating a Kardashian is hard, so hard that it made him cheat on his ex-wife multiple times during their marriage. He said, "When I became Khloe Kardashian's man on TV, it made me look more enticing." As a result, he claimed, thoughts came out of the woodwork. "If there is one thing I regret when I was married, it was having multiple affairs with different women. That wasn't the stand-up thing to do. I wish I could have kept my D in my pants." Next up, Courtney Kardashian and Scott Disick. In 2015, Scott was spotted getting handsy with stylist Khloe Bartoli while in Monte Carlo. It wasn't long after that Courtney announced she was splitting from the father of her 3 kids. Following the affair, Scott came clean to the family, saying, "I've apologized to Courtney 100 times, but I've never apologized to all of you for letting all of you down and embarrassing you guys." So it was obvious that he had trouble remaining committed to Courtney. The two broke up briefly after this incident and then got back together, but continued to have a rocky relationship. First, her sister, Kim, caught a girl hiding in Scott's bathroom in Dubai, and finally, the eldest Kardashian invited Scott on a family vacation to Costa Rica. He ended up sneaking a girl into his hotel room while he was trying to reunite with his ex. This final incident is what prompted Kardashian to tell Scott they were never ever getting back together. The reality star came under fire for promoting Flat Tummy Co.'s appetite suppressant lollipops to her millions of Instagram followers. She posted a picture of herself with the diet ad candy and wrote, "They're literally unreal." While Kim has posted sponsored ads for weight loss products before, things like meals replacement shakes, the whole appetite suppressant thing falls into a different, far more contentious category. The lollipops contain an extract from natural plants that is said to control cravings, food intake, and weight. But while the active ingredient is technically safe, many nutrition experts agree that appetite suppressants are a short-term, ultimately ineffective diet strategy that can promote harmful eating habits and aggravate already existing disorders. The fact that the company's product comes in lollipop form seems geared towards a younger consumer, which just makes it all the more troubling. Manhattan-based nutritionist Maria Marlowe criticized the move and said Kim is an incredible marketeer and brander, and many young women look up to her. But this is sending the wrong messages that being hungry is bad, that our bodies need to be controlled, and that the route to our ideal body comes in candy form. Not only that, but relying on a suppressant is a distraction from focusing on a healthy diet and exercise. It's not a great option in the long term.
Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker's relationship has been a huge topic of discussion among among her family and fans. Now though, it appears that the dark truth is coming out, and people aren't sure how they feel about the couple. Now, it's said that Courtney's relationship with Travis has led to a breakdown between her friends and even her family. I mean, we all saw how it played out with her sister Kim around the time of her wedding. Now, fans theorize that the two sisters, whose feud has been documented in the past few seasons of Hulu's The Kardashians, are fighting with each other over the Blink-182 drummer, who admitted to having a crush on Kim before dating and marrying Courtney in his 2016 memoir, Can I Say? Now, in his memoir, Travis wrote that he kept on secretly checking out Kim while he was dating Paris Hilton in 2006. Per the LA Times, he wrote, "I don't care if she's the closet girl, she's effing hot." Now, in a new interview with the Los Angeles Times, Travis once again denied ever having a physical relationship with Kim, a claim his ex-wife Shanna Mulliker disputes. "It's like Courtney's fans are worried about Travis, he's a womanizer, stop it," he said. "I obviously shared all that stuff because I wanted to move past it. It was therapeutic for me." Now, he insisted that Courtney's beef with Kim has nothing to do with his past flirtations. That's her sister, she knows we used to talk, nothing bad was going on. You give people a little information and they think they solve the mystery of this is why they're fighting. It's just so ridiculous. Now, during a 2021 Q&A session on her Instagram story, Kim denied rumors that she hooked up with Travis. "No, false narrative," she wrote at the time. "We've been friends for years and I'm so happy for him in court." So they both deny it, but who knows? Now, Courtney and Kim's feud has been a central plot point in The Kardashians, with the sisters' heated rivalry intensifying as Kim directed Dolce & Gabbana's Milan Fashion Week show 4 months after Courtney and Travis tied the knot in a wedding themed after the brand in Italy. Now, there were lots of similarities, so it appears that this ignited another feud. In a season 3 episode of The Kardashians, a teary-eyed Courtney opened up to Kendall Jenner about feeling hurt by the collab in June 2023. "She sees everything that I had there and takes it for her own and doesn't even see it. She sees it for the dollar signs," Courtney said. Now, later in the episode, Khloe informed Kim of Courtney's reaction and was shocked. In a confessional, Kim said she couldn't have handled the situation in a more mindful way. "I said don't do the Madonna collection, don't do the lace collection, don't do anything that Courtney wore to her wedding," Kim said, referring to her discussions about the show with the Dolce team. "She doesn't know that I have an email string begging them to push it a year." Now, Kim wasn't going to stand with what she thought was disrespect and decided to fight fire with fire and point out that Courtney's Italian wedding had similar aspects to her own nuptials in 2014. During a confessional later in the season, Kim drew comparisons between her 2014 wedding to Kanye West. "I got married in Italy. Am I saying you copied me by getting married in Italy? Who performed at my wedding? Who performed at Courtney's wedding? Andrea Bocelli," she said. "You stole my effing wedding country and my wedding performer. Andrea Bocelli is my favorite male singer of all time, but I am copying her Dolce Vita lifestyle." Now, digging the dagger deeper into her sister, Kim also said Courtney doesn't have any friends besides her husband Travis. Now, Kim's dig came after Khloe said Courtney told her all of her friends disapproved of Kim's decision to work with Dolce & Gabbana after her wedding. "She's saying every one of her friends, but she doesn't have any friends," Kim said during the conversation. So, Travis. Then, in one scene, Kim told Courtney, "You hate me. Why do you hate me so much and why are you so angry with me? You have a serious vendetta." Now, she said this during the Kardashians' wedding special, Till Death Do Us Part, Courtney and Travis. "You hate us, you're a different person, we all talk about it." Now, Courtney clapped back with saying, "Because I don't need you guys anymore, I don't need to be a part of it." Now, it seems like since getting married, Courtney has wanted to stay away from the spotlight. Now, Courtney has also brought this up before, and it has also caused fights, as Kim claimed that she didn't care about the family as a whole or their careers. Now, this resulted in a full-on fist fight with Kim and Courtney, and it was all documented for the show. It seems like Courtney now wants privacy with the Barker family and doesn't want much to do with her blood family. I mean, she's a new mom again now, and it can be a lot, so I completely understand that. She wants to live a life of privacy and doesn't want to be on the reality show anymore, which again has caused rifts between her and Kim. Now, Travis and Courtney started dating in 2021 and quickly bombarded fans with their very public relationship before tying the knot the following year. The pair documented their journey on The Kardashians with their attempts to have a child.